vision of that fellowship. The fellowship that was founded many decades ago by Demas Shakarian, a man who was originally from Armenia and whose family came to the United States or went to the United States because of a vision and a prophecy that indicated that there was going to be a terrible atrocities in Armenia, which happened and is still in controversy today because it was, the Turkish invasion and genocide. Anyway, Demas settled in California, and he became a successful dairy farmer. And Demas was very concerned about the absence of men in the church. And, the Lord laid it on his heart that he should establish this fellowship with men. He had the gift of helps and would assist many churches and organizations in having crusades and other events. And they were planning to have a big event at the Hollywood Bowl, I think it was called, and they needed money. And so Demas, being a successful dairy farmer, he arranged for a meeting of his friends, business associates, etc. on his farm, and it was, as they could call it, a sort of chicken dinner, a meal. And at that meal, he invited a man to come and share what the Lord had done in his life or what was happening in his life. And the man shared how God had intervened and healed a member of the family that was terminally ill. The man sat down and Demas saw another man and he invited him to share. And he also had something to share about the goodness of God in his life. And that became, the sort of foundation pattern for the fellowship, which eventually was established. Sharing of testimonies over a meal or after a meal or in a meal. And eventually Demas established the Full Gospel Businessmen Fellowship International, which he called that name International before, before they had more than one chapter. Anyway, they started to meet, and eventually, as we see in other situations, the fellowship, began to grow, and then it declined. And it had reached a point where they were about to give up. And the evening before what was to be the final meeting, he was before the Lord on his knees praying, and he had this experience of firstly going around the world, traversing the world, orbiting the world, and seeing men throughout the world, all nations, nationalities, and so on, looking really depressed and as if dead. And they continued praying, and then he had another experience where this time he saw men again all around the world with their hands raised, smiles on their faces, giving praise. And so what that showed was a transformation, that men could be transformed. And so off they went. He went to this, what was the final meeting, and at that meeting, men came with new inspiration. One man came and contributed a substantial amount of money, for the fellowship. Another man came and contributed his services and printing press, and they started the printing of the Voice magazine, which is still around today. and it's really a magazine that tells of the testimonies of many persons. So the long and short, the fellowship blossomed worldwide and is in over 50 countries, and it's all over the world. We have the fellowship here in Jamaica for many years, and I would say these have been years of blessings, but years of struggle. And as we see in our fellowship today, most persons going to church, have some relationship with God. Our objective really is to invite persons who do not know the Lord to come to our meetings, right, and to hear the testimony of what God has done in the lives of others. And in many instances, to see themselves in a similar situation, and for us to have an opportunity to share with them the goodness of God. Why is it that God has, that God is available to them through Jesus Christ? And many have come to know the Lord in this way. So we have a responsibility here to invite those. It's so easy, it's much easier to invite our friends and other colleagues and so on. We share so much in common, but we need to reach out to those of our friends and family and others who do not know the Lord, come and hear and share. And so that is one version of the fellowship, of the vision of the fellowship. And so we are delighted that you're here this morning to share with us in this.
Maybe you could just also give us the dates and times.
Okay, yes. Our chapter here, we meet, starting with this meeting that we are at. It's the fourth Saturday morning of the month. This month is a little different because we had a lot of things happening.
That's right.
And it became expedient for us to shift it to the fifth Saturday. And so here we are this morning. But fourth Saturday mornings, we meet here at 8 o'clock and ask you to make a note of that. But we meet also virtually on first and second Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. Right? We meet and we'll send out, want everybody to give us their particulars so we can, send out the invitations. And we also have a scheduled meeting on the third Wednesday for prayer. We have been meeting at Brother Francis' home. We have not met maybe the last month or so. But we really need to get back on track because that is really critical for the sustenance of us, of our fellowship, of our nation, and indeed of the world. So thank you very much.
Good. I'm going to also ask, especially the visitors, that little sheet of paper.
Is that little slip in front of you?
That you could just put your information. That's how we can contact you in the future.
Name, email address, and telephone number. The slip in front of you, a little white slip, you can just fill it out and we can collect it at the end.
So while we wait with breakfast, maybe a good turn to illustrious.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't stay here. You're closer to the ladies.
Oh yeah.
Always close to the ladies. And two sisters. So. This morning I think I'd like to do one of my favorite hymns, which I'm sure most of you know. So you can feel free to join in the chorus. And it speaks about the faithfulness of God, which I can testify to in my own life over the years. me see if this thing is on. Okay? Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be. Join me now. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hands have provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Pardon for sin and a peace that endureth. Thine own dear presence to cheer and to guide. Strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. Pleasures of mine with 10,000 besides. So we sing, great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hands have provided. Great is thy faithfulness, yes. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
I shout of glory because I have it from the Lord that whenever I shout glory, I'm declaring His glory, and that whenever I declare His glory, He, God, is obligated to let His glory fall. So may His glory fall on every one of us this morning. Him?
I'm here.
Yes, New York. I want me to tell you a little about what happened there. In 2009, I was living in Grenada, a brother in Texas. Somehow we came connected over the same thought that God was calling us to go to New York. 2 people going to New York. Anyhow, we sort of tried to gather people around us, and we did go to New York to evangelize, and we walked the streets of New York. We rode the buses, we made contact, we got somebody with a radio station, just agreed to, we found a church up there, run by a man who had Jamaican roots, and his wife was a woman who was a child in the JDF prayer group where I got saved. So there was a connection, and it was amazing that many people came to the Lord because of that. That connection continued, and over the years we kept going back. And then this year, we felt strongly that we should go again to New York. And we try to encourage the world to come to New York. At the World Convention, we advertise it. There are very few takers. The Coming to New York project was come to New York, be led by the Spirit, and do whatever you feel the Lord is saying to you to do between the 8th and the 18th of August, it was, I think. Just come and do it. Now, the leadership of Full Gospel found that kind of difficult. It wasn't Full Gospel. Full Gospel organizes stuff well. They plan months ahead. They have meetings set up in various places. And so they gave consent to it, but the strong support we had anticipated was not there. Nevertheless, we went ahead with the project, and the two of us went. And there's some amazing, one couple over on the West Coast in Oregon, in Seattle, Washington, received it as a word from the Lord that they should be there. They contacted us and they drove across to join us in New York. A guy in Texas felt the same way. He came. Guy in Jamaica felt the same way. This Jamaica here, Kingston, came. And like God was saying, don't worry about the numbers and the organization, go ahead. So we went. We did not have the financial support we expected, which normally we would get. And we were wondering where would we stay. We found a man that had a place, and he was giving you a room space with a kitchen that you can cook for $12 a night in New York. In New York City, guys. That is crazy, but that's what we did. And then we found that he had connections, and from that base, we went across all 5 boroughs of New York and New Jersey. We drove, we prayed, we met people who were there ministering. And when we spoke with them, I said, "What are you doing here?" They said, "Well, we felt that the Lord said to come to New York at this time to minister." And they were walking streets. One young man drove from Washington. We found him. He stepped in his car, ministering, leading people to the Lord. The day we saw him, he had already led 50-something people to the Lord. We went with a few young men up outside of the football stadium. In 1 hour, they led over 127 people to the Lord. And that sort of continued. And when we discovered that the Gideons felt God called them to come and distribute Bibles in New York City during that same time frame. And so they were on the streets doing the same thing. And we found numbers of people who were there just responding to a moving of the Holy Ghost. People got healed, people got saved. We had some breakfast meetings like this. We had lunch meetings. I remember we had a lunch meeting in a what is it, Mexican food thing? A taco shop. And as we sat down, the group who had been invited sat. A man walked through the door. He came to buy tacos, and he saw us, and he said, "I want to know more about Jesus." Woo. And before a few minutes, he was led to the Lord. This changed. His friend came in. The friend came to meet him. He told him what had happened. The friend come to Jesus. And then they left. And we had our meeting. It was nothing short of miraculous, all that took place. And I'll finish off with this. There was we went to Times Square to sit on the street. There was a big thing going on in Times Square. There was a big Christian band on a stage, and there was a preacher preaching, but like nobody was taking it on. And I sat on a curb And I was praying in tongues at the time because I said, but God, this people not even taking it on. And then I heard a voice say, somebody touch me. Oh God, there was a scripture that came to mind right away. Somebody touched me. Jesus said that when a woman touched the hem of his garment. And I understood what God is saying. In this hustle, in this bustle, I am being touched. People are getting touched. And my whole attitude changed from complaining to thanksgiving. We had a tremendous time. We know of several people being saved. Some got healed too. We don't know how many. That's not our business, that's his business. And then we came back to our various homes. But we made some tremendous connections there. I don't know what God will continue to do. So that's a little brief.
Carl, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, wonderful gentlemen and ladies. That the second time running that the Caribbean Full Gospel I've been meeting in Trinidad in a place called Mayara. I don't know if anybody is familiar with that location. And they it's like a retreat or advance, so to speak. And so our brother Francis here visited on both occasions. And so we're going to ask him to just share a little of what is.
The president of the Caribbean Full Gospel, Trevor Joseph, conceived this idea, and they had the first retreat in 2019. So we go to Trinidad and we form up in Chaguanas, and then we move to their east coast, which is supposed to be a resort area called Mayara. So the first one took place.
Right here.
First one took place in 2019. So they thought they would do it again. So they had one in October, from October the 5th to about the 9th or the 10th. What happens is that the men from Trinidad, and there are quite a few of them, get together with other men from the Caribbean islands like Jamaica, Grenada, Barbados, Guyana, the Bahamas, other gentlemen from Virgin Islands on this occasion. So we get together over a period of days and they put together a program where people make presentations and sit down and talk to each other. And they had, on this occasion, because it went a little bit longer, they had a church service on the Sunday. So it went from, we arrived in Maya on Thursday night, and we met on Friday, Saturday, and the thing was sort of concluded on Sunday. As I said, during that time, they have people who do various programs. There was presentation, but some Barbadians who did some stuff, some Trinidadians too. Sadly, when we were down there, the gentleman from the Bahamas got quite sick. Evangelist Phoebus Derrick got quite sick, was hospitalized, and died. Died in Trinidad. So the Trinidadians got together and they hospitalized him, cared for him, buried him, and then cremated. But I suppose that is not really the high point. The high point of the thing is that the Trinidadians take the lead. And they get all of us from the various islands to come together. One of the good things about it is that between the presentations, we get together and we sit down in groups and we share. And that's where a lot of fun takes place, a lot of interesting stuff. That's where you get to know the people outside of the official presentations. Nestor was there also. He's the man that stooled and got me to do this. They serve a lot of food. The Trinidadians provide a lot, and you know that they are good cooks. The men cook. Some of your women folk also come down. They're not restricted to men only. He was there with his wife, who I'm told is my sister. So you have couples coming down, so we all get together. It is wonderful. It is deeply spiritual. It doesn't look so at first glance, but it is deeply spiritual. And you realize how deeply spiritual it is after the event. When you come away and you begin to reminisce on what took place and how God moved. I suppose down there we also get a lot of praise reports, and we had a gentleman, an apostle from the Virgin Islands who came. This was his first time he preached. A tall man, he's 6'7" tall. Or 6'8", 6'7". Good preacher. Apostle Cotterell is his name. So all in all, we had a very wonderful time. I don't know when it's going to take place again. But it is also, one of the purposes also is to fire up the gentlemen from the other island, to get them to be motivated to push the fellowships in their own countries. And the last time, when we did the first one, Earl, who was president, was there. For some reason, our president refuses to come. See me here? But Earl went to the first one. I went to the two of them. And so we look forward to seeing if they're going to do it again. It sets a very high standard. The Trinidadians set the bar very, very high. Very high. Mark you, they have businessmen in it, men with big business. But aside from that, they take it very seriously. They're very spiritual. There's a spirit of love. I suppose the high point is what prevails. The spirit of love prevails over the 3 days. It is something else to see men loving men and demonstrating the love in a practical way. So I had a wonderful time. And if there are any questions about it, I'll take a few questions. Apart from that, I'm just waiting to get my mackerel.
Gonna see.
Yeah, I'm going to follow.
Yes.
You know, just following the chat. I mean, it was really so inspiring what transpired there and what happened in relation to our brother Stephen, who eventually passed. I think it was remarkable. I don't know if this has ever happened in any other full gospel or rare circumstances where brother and his wife who came from another country, the Bahamas in this instance, came, fell ill, and the brothers just took over, facilitated, made arrangements for hospitalization and care, and went through the whole process. Eventually, the brother passed, right, in another country.
Yes.
And the man just took up the responsibility.
Tremendous.
To care for his wife who was there in Trinidad. And eventually the decisions were made that he would be created because they explored the possibility of him by going back. It would have cost about $50,000, $40,000 US dollars just to transport him back. And the whole team just came together in prayer, in support. I found it very touching, as Francis said, that expression of love. And eventually we had they had a fellowship, and a get together on the Thursday evening. And there were over 100 persons on the Zoom from all over the world, mostly from the Caribbean, but from all over the world, who just came in and shared and prayed and gave testimonies of what they knew of this brother and the impact that he made on their lives. And then the final thing was Trinidad has also organized this service, funeral service for the brother. As I said before, it was really, really very inspiring. And it was a tremendous demonstration of God's love and how they rallied together in support of his brother and his family. And I just want to say that I'm sure other people who followed would have been impressed and touched and inspired, as I was. And I just want to say all glory to God.
Yes.
Because it was a marvelous demonstration of what I think He wants us to do.
Yeah.
I think all expenses were paid. Francis?
Yeah, the Trinidadians, and I believe the family of the departed gentleman, but many of the Trinidadians took it upon themselves. We tried to get them to allow us to share the expenses. They took it upon themselves, they felt obligated, and they bore the brunt of the expenses. Service, hospitalization, cremation. I don't know how these guys do it, but they did. And they took it all in stride.
Wonderful.
Love is real. Love is real. And it can be demonstrated.
Yeah.
Unfeignedly. Unfeignedly. You have to be able to.
And Derrick is responsible for strategic direction and growth of the company since its inception in 1998. He also has significant experience in general management, sales, marketing, etc. A wide range of capabilities. Derrick also holds the position of managing director of Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited, one of the subsidiaries of Derrick, Woodcats International Limited, another subsidiary, Marnock LLC and Marnock Retail that are based in New York, subsidiaries of Derrick Group. He is a member of the board of directors of all the subsidiaries. Member of the board of the Dupa Primary School. He also chairs the Governor General of Jamaica's I Believe initiative and is chairman also of My Ocean Limited. He also serves as deacon at Fellowship Tabernacle. And is always seeking out opportunities to impact the lives of young people. Derrick is a graduate of the University of the West Indies and Florida International University, where he attained a Bachelor's of Science in Management Studies and a Master of Business Administration, respectively. I could see a lot more, but at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Derrick Cotterell to share his testimony of God.
Thank you, brother. Good morning, gentlemen and ladies. Good morning. How are you? How are you all? Good. I feel like a bit of a role reversal is happening here. I really should be the one sitting and listening to you guys. There's so much experience and knowledge in this room that it will be good to have the opportunity to sit at your gentlemen and ladies' feet to learn a lot more. My task this morning really was to share my testimony. And I basically plan to since it's a business meeting, to tell you the part of my life that is business and that road. But before I do so, I've been led to, as I enter every room, I try to get a vibe from the room and get a vibe from the people. And so I feel led to share with you a few thoughts. This group fully understands and appreciates the value and power that is here. Collectively, there's at least 700 years experience in this room. And whether we want to or not, we're all going to leave this earth at some point in time. And a lot of that knowledge and experience will leave with us. It is our responsibility to ensure that we share and leave as much of it here.
Yeah.
And with the challenges group to make a deliberate effort to get more younger people involved in your group. There's a very challenging thing happening now with this new, what we call millennials. And a lot of people are turned off by them. But I have a habit of looking, where a lot of people see negative, I see positive. That's my nature. When there's disaster, when there was Hurricane Gilbert and everybody saw doom and gloom, I sat at Cotterell on his feet and he saw all the opportunities. So when Hurricane David passed and people were busy trying to put pieces together, I already had a plan, working before the hurricane and a plan after the hurricane. So the challenge with the new millennials, they don't really want to work for anybody, which means they're all business people. What a wonderful opportunity to share and to influence the next generation in business. Because they all want to be entrepreneurs. They don't quite know how. They don't know what principles to work with. They don't know quite what works. But an opportunity there is for us to influence them in a very positive way. And a group like this could work wonders with. Well, as a company, we bring on interns every year for the past 3 years. 3 years was our second set of interns. And I was extremely disappointed with the last set of interns. And somebody pointed out to me that this is how the millennials are. You know, they come to work at 8 o'clock, they take an hour lunch, at 5 minutes to 5, they are packed and ready to go, and they are out of there. And they seem to be interested in nothing to grow. But I've taken some time to learn a little bit about them. And they're human beings too, just that they see the world a lot different from us. We grew up in a different era, with different expectations and different experiences. And so, without getting too much more into it, it would be nice if we could begin to draw closer to that generation. The truth is the church has to, because the church is only growing in the southern regions of the world, which is south of the United States and Africa. Everything north, the church is shrinking. If you go to a church in England or anywhere in Europe, pretty much we're youngsters in that church. All of us here are youngsters. I went to a church and I was the youngest person in that church by probably 30 years. Huge Church of England, huge church. There are about 25 people in the church. The church is dying in the northern regions. Dying. And as I said that tangent, what the world is seen as the church, particularly in the United States, is a misrepresentation of the church. We'll get into that too much. But we have a responsibility right here at home to begin to influence Jamaica in a very positive way. The way we have lived our lives and done business and have had some success, and I'll talk a little bit about success and how we define that, can form a serious catalyst for how Jamaica progresses. One of the things I'm sure we want as parents, as more senior people in society, is to ensure that we leave Jamaica a better place than we came and see it. And whilst we're on this earth, that's primarily what our responsibility is, to ensure that we can influence our country, our people, through the faith that we have in Jesus Christ, to ensure that we have a better place for our people and citizens to reside. I'm very passionate about Jamaica. I think we think too small. I don't think we're ambitious enough. I think we think lazy. We're not lazy, but we think lazy. I don't think when brother Sam said, I said I run a small business. Sam said, a big business, but it's a very small business. Because I don't measure in Jamaica. Jamaica has no big businesses. Zero. There's not one company in Jamaica that has sales of $1 billion. US. We're all small companies.
Not even Grayscale.
Not even this team. We're all small companies. Grayscale, they cannot go on the New York Stock Exchange. Okay? We're all small. But that doesn't mean we can't dream and become big. You know what I mean? And that I think is one of the things that I would like to leave as a legacy. When I leave this earth, I'd like Jamaicans to think a lot bigger. This is a big country. Probably the biggest small country in the world. I mean, what we take on in athletics is incredible. I mean, it is incredible that we have won 10 of the last 12 Olympic medals in the women's 100 meter. That's just incredible, right? I mean, most of the athletes were homegrown. So we have proven already that if we decide to do things on a grand scale, we can. Why do we want? Why do I'm suggesting not to do this? Because I don't like poor people. I don't like poor people. I deliberately say it that way. Rather say I don't like poverty. I don't like people being poor. There's no reason for people to be poor. Jamaica is a rich country if we begin to organize ourselves and we begin to think big and start to act big. Our small 3 million population, really and truly, Jamaicans should not be working if we don't want to work. The country should have so much resources. And it happens. There's a country called UAE that pretty much the people in UAE don't really work unless they want to. When you go to Dubai, vast majority of the people who work there are Indians, Pakistanis, and foreigners, including whites. People who own most of the businesses are UAE citizens. They don't have to work. They are guaranteed an education up to university level, anywhere in the world, including Oxford. That's the vision that Sheikh has for his country. Back in 1970, very short time. And when I go to UAE and see it is a desert, I go to Dubai, Dubai is in a desert. It is sand around you, you're in the desert. There are times when there's a sandstorm that you pretty much have to go inside. And I see the resources that we have. I am disappointed that we don't organize ourselves better to ensure that all Jamaicans can live the quality of life that is all. I'm not here to preach, but I'm passionate about that, and I think this group can make a big change in Jamaica. And I tell you why, because a lot of what it takes for us to get to the next level and the next level is through Christian way of running business, but we keep it a secret. Right? A lot of people spend a lot of effort trying not to pay their taxes, and that's their effort. And they don't realize that it really does retard the size of their business. Because if you are trying to beat the GCT and beat the taxman, you can never be organized enough to become a big business. You know, it's counterproductive, but we don't see it. And if we run the businesses like how Christ wants us to run the business, then that's not an issue. I don't know how much I pay for taxes. Whatever the computation comes out at, that's it. It's not my money. Especially GCT, you call it GCT at the government, you pay too much. It's not your money. Right? The computation says when you make X amount of money, once it's legal, the accountants have their way of working it up, whatever it is, you're supposed to pay taxes. That's how the company grows. Not our responsibility necessarily 100% to dictate to the government how they spend the money. Yes, they're going to waste them, but every government pays money. Right? So I think we have a lot of the solution for Jamaica Christian businesses. And Christian businesses need to be more upfront and we need to grow. Right? I was inspired by Best Dress when I saw their mission statement. I went to Best Dress Chicken. And I'm getting a little bit into my testimony on the business, but I remember here to a wonderful idea to sell them rice bran. So Derrick Trade is a large supporter of rice in Jamaica. And I tell them the story of God being a top dog of money. So one of the byproducts of white rice is rice bran. Just to give you a little bit of knowledge on rice. That rice that you see, that grain of rice, its natural status is brown. Okay? And then it is polished. They have like when it runs through the mill, it's polished and they rub off the brown off it, which is called the bran, and then it becomes white and they polish it. The bran is where the protein is. Okay? It's almost 100% plant protein. And the white has some nutrients, so don't think that rice is totally bad. We have been told that you must eat rice gradually, but the Chinese eat rice forever, and they are quite healthy. So rice is good, but the bran actually is the best part of the rice. So you can use that in animal feed and provide that protein for the animal. So I went to Best Dress to sell them bran. Well, I went there, they pretty much weren't interested in the brand. But everywhere I go, I try to learn. So I looked around and I was very impressed that right up front in your mission statement was God. And so I took a picture of it and it stuck with me. And I said, whenever I begin to formalize the company, I want a mission statement. That has God right up front in it. Just to tell you what happened with that Best Dress relationship. I went there to sell them brand, didn't work. I met them and said, alright, fine, we have like a relationship, and I realized that they had a big challenge. They need to import frozen meats and they didn't know what they're doing. But I knew what to do. So I eventually became their supplier for that. And out of that became a relationship with Janice Lee, who is the managing director, who is the general manager now it's at CFF. I'll say quite frankly, one of our best managers in the company. And through that relationship, when she left Best Dress, when she came up to Jamaica, we employed her and she had that job. So God took me to Best Dress for a reason. So I went there to sell them brand, but I ended up with focus on the business, during the mission statement. I want a wonderful relationship with wonderful young, well I still call her young lady, but she's older than me. So let me talk a little bit about having contextualize my vision of my whole world outlook and my vision for Jamaica. I want to talk a little bit about Derrick Trade. But I'll pause. Any question on what I said so far?
Continue. No, let's continue.
Alright. You all agree what I said?
Full.
So if you agree, you're going to commit to action. I'm a very person. I like to put people on the spot. So, Mr. President, I will make a comment before, on behalf of the group before, to learn something about the millennials and the country. But let me tell you a little bit about details. I left Kingston in 1998, and my father had a small gas station. And I pretty much realized after a few weeks that this was just too small for me. Forgive me, but I think big. I said, one gas station, I think I want to do other stuff. So I went on a trip to New York, and a friend of mine called me up and said, you leave Grace, what are you going to do? I said, well, this gas station is restructuring and I need to do some stuff there. And then I move on to other stuff and say, you want to do some trading? And I said, yeah, all right, cool. So he gave me a line of credit of $50,000 US. And I started with my first customer, who actually is the one who came up with the name, Derrick, which is a mixture of my wife and I name. She's Monique and I'm Derrick, so it's Derrick One. He was actually the one who named the company. And I just wanted to bring the first container, understand how it works, and sell it for liquor, for the cost price. I'm cool with that. So I ordered the container, did all the paperwork, did all that. I made a miscalculation of duties and realized when the product came, I didn't have the money to pay the duty. Didn't have the cash flow, couldn't take it to the gas station. So I went to a friend of mine and she loaned me 100,000 Jamaican dollars, which is not a problem, that's 1999.
Hello.
Cleared the container, sold it, got back the money, paid the supplier, and started that trade. Turned out that I gave her about the $100,000, and she said, "You just start business," so she pushed back the money. And said, "Go and use the money." So every shipment I do the same thing. I take the money and give to her, she push it back and give me, and say, "You just started, you need cash flow, go and take the money." This happened for a year, at least 14 shipments. She's deceased now, but she was my second mother. Learned quite a bit from her. That's why I said, it's knowledge based, don't underestimate it. I tell you that story because the business really started out of nothing. And it started out of trust. And my friend in New York, in Atlanta, would just give me a $50,000 line of credit. Disaster struck in 2000. My father died suddenly. Gas station, I take my eyes off the gas station, but not for the property. We're in serious debt, we're in danger of losing the gas station. And the shots were hovering. Everybody wanted that location, a very good location on the Tree Road. So I pretty much had to take my eyes off there and focus on the gas station to pay Texaco what money was owed, gas and reorganize stuff. Bury my father, all of that kind of stuff. So kind of took the eyes off the business and I had one employee left him with the business. I was doing rice, I was doing peas and sugar at the time. He had experienced people, you know what happened. He robbed me. Pretty much everything. So when you think your father had one problem, you have another problem. But I'm not that person who stays over. I fixed the frustration problem and whoops, there one is in trouble. I ended up owing my friend the $50,000. By the time I catch up and I recover and I move him out and catch up back, I realize I can't pay my supply overseas. Those days, bank loans were probably easier to get. So I went over to NCP and on the cash flow of the gas station, I pretty much got a loan that could pay the $50,000. Quick loan. And I told him what happened and I sent the money and paid it back after about 3 weeks or so. So he was shocked that I paid him off so quickly because, after what I got through, he expected me to get to pay him, but over time. So when I sent the money off to him, he said, "Why you pay me so quick?" I said, "I took a bank loan." He said, "I never had to do that on interest." I said, "Listen, we're all business people. If I start to give his money little, his money will mash up. And because 50,000 is different from $1,000 amount over 50 months. It was not the same, right?
Yeah.
So I know that. And as a principle, whatever I want for myself, just a biblical principle. Do unto others as you like them do unto you. I decided to make the sacrifice, guys. My fault, my responsibility. I'm paying him back his money in full. So I paid him back his money in full, paid the bank interest, which was not cheap at the time, and decided to suck through with the spoon. But I said, I was always very, I've been through so much that my faith isn't shaking. I know the Lord is way out front for it, so I just need to focus on what I need to do. So it all worked out, but I stopped trading. And I remember, I said when I started at Derrick, I want to have some products that are household names, that I don't have to be going out there like a hustler. I don't believe in hustling. No. Business must be organized, structured. Forgive me, I hope I don't step on anybody too, but I always believe that if you can step out of your business for a while, or if you get sick, the business can't run without you, you really don't have a business. That's my belief. Right? I'm terrified of that. That if I get sick or I can't go to work, then the business crash. The business crash, it means I don't have a business. It means I have zero business because you have no control over that kind of stuff. So I was was in that position, and I wanted to get out of that position as quickly as possible. So I wanted to start up this company that was, my wife, well, I'm missing a little part. My wife started up stationery business earlier that same year, 2002, right after the birth of my son in 2001. I actually told her, she went, when stuff happened, she was working at the gas station. We said, okay, we're going to need another income. She went to work with a friend. And when she went off on maternity leave, I told her when she go back, he's going to give her the business, which he actually did. He just gave her the business. She started that business. That business started one desk in one of my friend's office over by Empire. The Lord has a funny way of doing things, you know. That same Empire Plaza that I have a supermarket here now. The first office we had was upstairs Empire. One desk in a friend of mine business. So she was started that business that she took over. She just was her alone as the only employee, and she was doing that business there at Empire. So later on that year, a gentleman was walking to the gas station in the convenience store and said to me, no, Nestle wants some distributors, why don't apply? Long story short, I applied, and within 2 weeks, I was a distributor for Kingston and Center. Put another desk in my friend's office. I started the business and started to get going. So the Lord answered that. I mean, I didn't leave the gas station. He sent the biggest food company in the world, right? I said I wanted products that I didn't have our household names, Benty, Nestle, Sopragen, it's all household names, Milo. I didn't leave the gas station. Somebody came in and told me about it, but I acted on it. We got the distributorship for Nestle. So how long is this relationship, you know? This year is 20 years. In fact, it's this month, October, it's 20 years that we're doing business with Nestle. We've grown over the years. We decided we want to diversify. I brought in people, I brought in another friend, which I couldn't even pay. But like I said to you, I'm terrified that if I'm sick, I'm incapacitated to find a reason the business can't go on. So I know I couldn't pay my friend. We eventually moved to an office for ourselves. And when I brought him in, he and I were sharing the same desk. By the way, I still have that desk now. First desk I have in business, the same desk I have. Not changing it. The truth is, what am I going to do with it? I can't throw it away, it's still good, you know. So I may not quite much my office decor. It really matter. That's my desk. So he was sitting on that side, sitting on that. I tell him what I can afford to pay him. He came, started to go. That's where it stopped. It stopped house. But that was my backup if say something happened, at least he can run the business, you know. We grew. We got into the rice business, and I'll tell you a story about rice. An opportunity came up for us to be significant to the rice business. I needed $30 million. Now, you can't just walk into the bank and just get $30 million like that. I scratched me and I said, we're going to get $30 million. But I'll be honest with you, I operated in such field that I'm going to get the $30 million. I didn't have a clue where the $30 million was coming from. I was negotiating the contracts, I was doing everything, I didn't know where the money was coming from. And one day, James Ronald from Nestle called me and said, "Want to see me?" So I went up to his office and he said, "Boy, Derrick, you have been doing very well. I know there's something I must tell you I like about you. You're an honest businessman. And that's something I can say about a lot of people. You're an honest businessman, and you're just upfront and straight, and I really like that about you." And I say, here, I started the business with Nestle at $1 million. I had to find $1 million as bank guarantee. My same mother, downtown, she put up that money. For a year, I gave her back after a year. By then, my credit with Nestle was about, I was winning like $60 to $70 million. Still had the $1 million bank guarantee. We know we know $300 million with them, still had the $1 million bank guarantee. $300 million per month, that is. So when Jimmy sat down with me, he took up the AR and said, "Boy, Derrick, as you struggle with the payments, but I'm going to do something for you. And they say, you have about 27 million in over 60 days. I'm going to give you a year to pay that off. I said, oh, so 3 more million here that is going to come due this week. So I'm going to put that on it. So you have $30 million you can pay me over a year. And that's how the finances start rise. Just like that. Just like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Work on prayer and all of that. I'm not one of them people who sit down and pray and see something. I'm sorry. We talk to the Lord. We just have conversation with the Lord. I have so much confidence in my relationship with Him. I'm going to say, Lord, if we not to do this, just show me the way and stop me. But if we're doing it, you're going to provide the resources. I'm going to just go. Right? We just go. My wife is more the one that will wake up 5 o'clock in the morning and pray. I'm constantly having conversations with the Lord. Right? And I say, Lord, if I not to do this, just show me. Or that I not to do it, I'm going to stop. But if I must do it, I'm going through. So we went to the rice business just like that. Just like that. I saw an opportunity in rice also. That there was USA rice. All you are old enough to remember that USA rice was the preferred rice in Jamaica. You probably don't realize it if you just go to the supermarkets and just pick up rice. But there's a difference between the Guyanese rice and the US rice. For those of you who cook. That's what inside the room. The US rice and the Surinamese rice cook softer than the Guyanese rice cook firmer. The challenge is, if you just cook the rice like that, you won't know the difference. But if that rice ever gets cold and you have to reheat it, you can definitely tell the difference. There's a way to get around that, but I won't get into that. So I recognize that the day US rice have a problem, I could use Suriname rice to replace it. And I prepared for that day, and when that day came, eventually, ADM didn't have an answer because I filled the gap. And so we just moved from a small plain rice to be the biggest plain Jamaican rice. Right? God has been so good in church for that. But he showed me that down before. Now, from about 2006, 2007, I go to the Lord every January, asking him the same question. What it is that I must do this year, Lord? Give me guidance, tell me what it is we need to do. And the Lord gave me the same answer from 2006, I think, to now 2022. He said, run the business like a big business. Run the business like a big business. Every year he told me the same thing. The message was very clear. Very, very clear. But big is relative, you know. So, what I saw big in 2006 is a completely different vision I have in 2022. And in 2025, I'm having a different vision. One of the things I believe strongly is that if you can implement your full vision during your lifetime, your vision too small. Your vision needs the next generation is supposed to complete your vision. If your vision, you can accomplish it, it's too small. That's not the vision. That's not the real vision. Think little deeper. I recognize very early, thank the Lord, that the business is not really about money. If you focus on the money, you miss the most important things. Business is really about people. And how you can influence and affect your lives in a positive way. So, the relationship with my team members, everybody gets the same treatment. We have health insurance, and the same health insurance that I have, the same insurance that the janitor has. Everybody's on staff. A lot of supermarkets, they have contract workers that don't believe in that. And they get the benefits day one. I'm opening a new supermarket in Maypen. We haven't opened a supermarket yet. We have a full staff. They all get health insurance. We will introduce a pension scheme shortly. They get the full benefits. Right? We haven't run a cent from that supermarket yet. People is more important than anything else. It's our greatest asset. Unfortunately, we can't write it on the balance sheet. But the people is the most important thing. And so at the center of our organization is people. My wife is the HR manager, and she has the spirit of the company with her. Right? It's important that a Christian person be head of HR, full stop, because Derrick Trade is a Christian company, first and foremost. I'm not a Christian businessman or a businessman that happens to be Christian. I am a Christian who happens to do business. So whatever I do, that's what it has to fit into. It has to fit into how Christ would do this. We're going to come with a lot of opposition, a lot of challenges, a lot of temptations. But at the heart of the business, Earl Richard is one of my senior board directors, and that is deliberate. Because I need to surround myself. It's not just Christians on my board, but the strongest and most senior people on my board are believers. Because if you have to operate in the world, you have to be wise. And you're going to have to do business with people. I do business with Muslims. Some of my best friends and suppliers are Muslim. I get a lot of issues. Hindu. Virtually everybody in the business and business are Hindu. We don't have religious differences. Frankly, the matter has never come up. Pretty much, the differences between religions, from my experience, is not as great as I think they are. Especially the Judo-Christian, the Judo religions. There's not as much difference between Muslims, Jews, and Christians in terms of living principles. Obviously, our beliefs are different, but in terms of living principles, even the Buddhists and the Hindus, it's pretty much love thy neighbor, live a good life. The values aren't different naturally. There are differences in the manifestation of how they worship and the faith, and the Hindus have many gods. But as people and as Christians, we have to treat them as in love. Sometimes we focus too much on the fact that their doctrine and their beliefs are misinformed, I like to say, than to look at the person just as a human being. And if we start there, I'll digress a little bit, just like homosexuals, we grew up from an era that we can't accept that. We're in a changing world that is becoming more acceptable. But the challenge is, do we look at them as really human beings? Do we look past their sins? I have employees who are homosexual. What am I going to do? Fire them? I can't write in the policy in the company that went to homosexuals. And I have to treat them in love the same way. We know they are. Jamaica is a kind of society that I don't like to use the word homophobic because it's not homophobic, but we have a particular stance on Christian and homosexuality. So you don't want to love it up, but they live their life. But we have to treat them with respect and with love. So the Lord has blessed me that I have managed to travel quite a few countries, have great relationships with people. And that is the focus of the business, the people. The biggest challenge we have in the business is people. The biggest successes we have is with the people. The biggest opportunities are with the people. Right? That is really, my life is really about love. The legacy I want to leave on this earth is that this man I love. And love in the sense of 1 Corinthians 3. 1 Corinthians 13, verses 3 to 7. That's pretty much my mantra. I am, the next thing, I'm always happy. I am never sad. Never. I may have a moment of sadness if I hear some bad news, but I'm getting back happy in a few minutes. I think it's a waste of time to be too sad. Life is too short. You spend too much time in sadness, but there's so much to be happy about. Right? So I just want to share a little bit about me and my experience of my life. And I'm going to share that I'm sorry that the business closed, but I want you to understand, God is in that. It's time for you to move to a different thing. There's a lot of opportunities down there. Right? And don't take it too old. Nobody's too old. Nobody became president of the United States at 78 years old. When nobody believed him could become president of the United States again. who would believe that an Indian man was the president, the prime minister of England? Boris Johnson should not have been prime minister of England. Even he was, I remember listening to an interview that Boris said, it's not possible to become prime minister when he became prime minister. Right? Don't look back on the past with any regrets. Whatever experience you have in the past are what they are experiences. Your steps are ordered by God.
Yeah.
Right? We cannot look back and with regret about this and that. Learn the lessons from it. Move forward. Once you're on the face of this earth, let's look forward. So there's a lot of opportunities out there.
Colonel Sanders with
When
KFC.
you call me afterward, because we can talk. I can point into a lot of directions. Okay? My good brother said, retire. Retire to do what?
Refire.
No, let me explain it. I want to explain it. I'm supposed to be retired now, and this company asked me to help out. I said I'd help you 2 days a week.
That's fine.
But I was telling him that no, it has something is happening because when I leave, I said, see you Monday. They said, no, you can't come tomorrow and help us again.
Listen, it's a ministry.
Yeah.
Don't just go there to do the business, influence the people and work for the people. It's opportunity.
So I'm ending up going more than 2 days.
That's fine. Listen, man, this retirement thing is overrated here.
Yes, sir.
And I'm telling you, you guys are older than me. Retire to do what? You move in different phases of life.
Yeah.
We had something in our man, board charter that said people had to retire from our board at 60 earth, but it was not the but we're ready to say that's what it's from across there's no age. This thing about age and people have to retire, you're expected to do this and particular. That's nonsense. It's been done a long time. Right? Look at the 82-year-old young man. Right? And the 78-year-old young man. Right? That's good. The most important thing is your health.
Yeah. So Derrick, maybe you don't understand. I'm in Joe Biden yet.
I thought you don't understand. You're alive. I don't think no one would understand it being. I think it's you don't understand. You're alive. I'm not saying that in life you're not going to have different phases. I'm not saying to run your business. I'm not going to run in German trading forever, you know. But I'm never going to retire. In fact, I'm stepping on as CEO at the end of 2024. I'll be 60 in 2025. I'm stepping on as CEO and remain as executive chairman because you need people to grow. And if I don't move out to allow people to grow, you know, and then that person will spend their time and then, but I never retire. Retire to do what? I'm just going to a different phase of life.
So you're right. There's nothing in the Bible about retirement.
I'm with medical science and good health. You work until the Lord come. Yeah. Right? So those are my few words in Jesus' name.
If I was younger, maybe I would start a business.
And I remember to start with the one. No, I'm just being practical. Yeah. You know the energy it takes, but you probably don't know the energy, but you can advise. You can advise. That's why it's important that, and let me share this. One of the focuses we have in life as human beings together, human beings evolve into gatherers and storers and not sharers. So we still have to gather and store because some cultures, you know, the elderly are taken care of. But we were probably the last of the era that believe that we must take care of our parents. We don't expect our children to take care of us. So you need to provide for yourself. Yes, I mean, no question. We need to understand that we're not going to be able to work at the same pace. But we need to be able to work. If it's not even for income, we need to work.
Yeah.
Because that's how we keep our mind active and that's how we begin to manifest what the Lord wants us to do. Right? To win souls. Right? You don't win souls by sitting on godly. That's all.
Explain to me how the deferment of the payments to Nestle, the 30 million. And you said that you needed 30 million.
He wouldn't have to pay it.
It's cash flow.
Okay.
So I will Nestle $60 million, that is 30 million.
Okay.
So rather than find that 30 million up front, I was paying them the $30 million in small increments every year.
So you use that 30
So I use that $30 million cash flow to finance the rights.
Okay.
And make enough profits that I can pay out necessarily at the end of the year, which we never really fully pay them out, but they work with you, you know?
Yeah.
So I pay out like 20 out of the 30, I'm still at 10, which I roll another 6 months. But you know, that's how credit works.
True.
Show the word. Show the word. Listen to me. If credit is the suppliers credit is the cheapest form of financing.
Yeah.
And suppliers credit come out of integrity and trust. It's not your balance sheet, it's integrity and trust.
True.
There's no interest on it.
And there's no interest on it. So I have to be, my suppliers are my best friends. When they pick up the phone, anyhow I answer them. Nobody can say that their man owe them and I don't tell them call. In fact, if I owe you, I'm going to call you before.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Brother Derrick.
Thank you.
This was a testimony with a difference, but it was very inspiring.
Very.
And we just open the floor to anybody else who might have questions or so.
All right, go ahead, Paul. Go ahead, Paul. Gentlemen. Yeah.
Is your phone?
Started out with
I'll call it back, Courtney.
millennial issue.
Zero
million opportunity.
Opportunity. You know?
I just as a board member, sorry.
Go ahead.
Why, Derrick? I find it, put this way, the standard that you want to achieve and the results that you want to achieve for a company requires a certain mindset, requires a certain attitude, you know, the spirit of excellence. It requires initiative, integrity, you know, it requires so much characteristics. If you want to achieve what you want to achieve. And for the life of me, there is such a wide gap with these millennials. It's stressful, brethren. I know what? It's stressful, man. And it's like, it don't really matter to them. They have no pride in doing anything with excellence. You know, I'll give you a simple example. If you tell them, move a pack of books from here and put it over there, they will do it, you know. But then when they look at the end result, you have to come behind them now and restock it and straighten it up and organize. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And it's just.
I mean, every one of us
they have.
Drive you up the
I live
wall.
it, but let me tell you something. I have a philosophy that I can't change people. I only can change my outlook on it. But so I don't change people, I try to influence them to change.
Mm-hmm.
So we all have the same challenge with the millennials. But I don't think it's beyond our capacity to find our way.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you from my own experience. The first time I bring this last time I bring here, after a week I'm like, I said, let's get them out of there. I said, no. Get them out of there. And the parliament said, but I'm trying with them. I said, it's no hope. I am saying that to them. So you say that, I said, when you see it, these guys they don't have a clue. And they don't even want to learn. And my wife had to sit down and say, if we are not going to work with them, who is? I'm going to have to kind of repent. And then I tell you, say, it is 100, it is anyway even become, it's probably about 20% better. But I see a little hope that it, because you can't be around the thing and the glory of money. They're seeing how things are supposed to be done. Yes, you have to tell them 10 times and 20 times. You cannot be in an organization that everybody's going that way and you just continue to go the other way. Link much more.
They're teachable.
And they're bright people, you know. It's just attitude. Like, so what I realize is we spoil them.
We spoil them.
We spoil
Our
them.
generations.
Our generation spoil them.
Yeah.
We want them to live a better life than us. They will take us to school.
We get everything.
Give them everything. Yeah.
They never for work going on. They don't know what struggle is like. All of us inside have gone through struggle in life. Most of them don't know what struggle is. We actually went out our way not to find the one who have gone through some struggle and not to work. You know, but if not us, who? That's a question that the Lord put to me. If not you, Derrick, if not us here, who is going to work with you?
What age group we talking about?
The millennials are 23 and below.
And below?
Yeah. Below.
In the working world.
Yeah.
They're working. They are coming out of the university now. They are a tough set.
It's children.
It's children we're talking about. So it's with
23
children and
and
grandchildren.
a bit below. Okay, all right.
Let me make a comment about my work as a my experience.
It's usually for that 40 and over.
Make a comment
Yes,
about my
yes, sir.
experience, with Derrick, a little part. And it's to see that the German almost requires everybody who sits on the board to pray at some point. So although I'm not called upon, all the time, but everybody needs it because we pray at every meeting. That is a standard. Another thing I noticed, I don't think I met Derrick, is that the company grows by acquisition as well as and it seems that most of the companies that have been acquired, it's like the owner wants their ones to be the first choice, and then afterwards there's always a relationship with the previous owner, either being on the board or in some way. So I've never seen a hostile takeover situation. It's always like
Hostile takeover.
It's like the Lord is saying to the person, this is the company you need to make the opportunity to.
Yeah, man.
That's very true. I mean, I said in every acquisition, and I'm involved in all of it, I said if we can't do this and we're smiling and happy, what of us? We're not doing it. There's no acquisition that we must do. And if you are not going to be happy and we are going to be happy, then we're not doing it. So that's the first thing. We have never actually sought any company to buy it. Never. People always come to us. The Lord send people to us. Yeah? And not everyone that comes to us we buy. But funny enough, the only one I saw, the only one I went out and saw, was the name again. So, okay, Lord, I get it. But I'll tell you, Woodcats. Woodcats, the company that was organized to sell the company, they sent us the financials and said they want us to come and look at the company. Ian and I came off the plane and went straight to the location. I walked around, I know nothing about the woodworking business and product business, but I walked around, talked to the gentleman, and all of that kind of stuff. And at the end of the meeting, we agreed to meet again. So the following day, Mayberry was the one who was handling the transaction. Mayberry called me and said, the gentleman has chosen you to do the business, to sell the business to. I said, how comes? Because he had 4 people who were to look at the business, and we were the first. When did the other people look at it? He said, no. He said to them that he doesn't want to talk to anybody else. Their one is who wants to sell the business. I said, well, he said to him that, but suppose people offer you more money, he said, well, their money is who want to sell the business.
Man.
So that was like very profound. Even caramel flavors and fragrances. We made a decision within less than 24 hours. I heard about it in the morning, and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we made a decision to buy the company and shake hands. Other people heard about the company, and when we actually finished the transaction, was when they were coming back. Every single acquisition has been people come to us and we make a good arrangement. So we could have gotten a lot more out of it, but listen, when you guys know, if you work and build your company, you want to see that legacy go on, right?
Yeah, continuity.
And that is a major part of it, and the continuity of it. And sometimes the business is worth far less than you think it worth. But it's important to me that the previous owner has dignity. Dignity is very important. You can't work for all these years and you have to struggle. So we pay out sometimes goodwill that we didn't have to pay. If we're being really hard notes. But like I said, the business is not the most, money is not the most important thing. The Lord will find a way to make it better. I said this is what Lord would want us to do. I should put that in front of you. I think that's what the Lord would want us to do. And the reputation I want to leave is not to be hard-nosed businessmen who just couple up smaller companies and have this animosity to do it. We need to do things the way Christ would have done it. Very important.
Good, sir.
Yeah. Sir Roger,
Yes.
you mentioned, which is good, and I have tried it in my 30 years that I was in business, that how you deal with your workers is very important. Treat them like how you treat yourself. And I tried most of those things like you said. Put them on a medical tip. They have the same value. You try that things like, what they call it, things like trips, like we go to get started over North for a weekend and so on. But really, I'll be honest with you, I don't think it works completely.
What doesn't work?
You think that come on the morning, they will be appreciative and you'll say different in their attitude to work. It's the same thing.
So what don't work is your expectation. You see, we're not doing it with expectation that the staff is going to be bad and they're going to be good. I am not going to teach it. You did it because
What would Christ do?
you should do it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I do not for any minute expect my staff to treat me any better. Because of what I do to them. I don't fool myself that way. Unfortunately, life doesn't work like that. I mean, you expect it to, you want it to, but that's not how life is.
No.
The same man you help the most gives you the opportunity to rob you. What you need to fix is your expectation.
Yeah, that is true. I know that.
So I am putting everything in place to ensure that the integrity of their actions can be managed and maintained. Fancy way of saying that they're not equal. But I do not think that treating my workers exceptionally well is going to prevent them from stealing. There's no evidence that is going to work all the time. Yes, you have a few with our conscience. Yeah. So for example, on the contrary, there are some companies that treat their staff terribly.
But they steal.
And some of the staff don't thief. So you're not leaving in the hope that they are going to necessarily treat you the way you want them to treat you. You live because that's what they should do.
Because of law. One of the things, what Paul Brand mentioned a while ago, it's something that in running my business, it has taken me back to school as to how to work with the millennials. That it challenges every one of us to find a new way of working with them. I'm in an industry that is techno-driven. My age group, I can't look to my age group to offer me the type of advice and counsel. In working with the millennials, they are extremely extremely gifted, but they have the wrong perception of business. Okay? And what I have had to do, some of the finest designs that's coming out of my organization is being done by the millennials. And what I have done, I have employed them on a part-time basis where they work from home. And if I'm doing a book that requires animation or illustrations, I am choosing from a batch of them that I can pull on them and say, okay, fine. This book relates to that. And I want you to give me some illustrations, right? No, I'm giving you 3 days. Okay? Don't pin them down to a month. I'm pinning them down to 3 days. Give me some illustrations. Okay? And in working with them in that manner, I'm getting from them. No. If I should say to them, we start work at 8:30 in the morning, and we 8 to 5, I would never get anything out of them. But I'm getting a lot out of them in allowing them the freedom to work at home, worse post-COVID. And so far it is working, you know. Not necessarily the ideal situation, because I might have a client who comes into me and they are putting together something that the book launch is 3 weeks or a month down the road. Now, I would love to have had them right there that I can say, okay, take on this project for me. This is it. No. Then when Mr. Cooper, no, I have to go this, I have to this. I don't know. But I will have 3 of them working part-time far away, and I'm getting it in the period.
Yeah.
So
you're onto something there, because Paul puts it this way. You have to make all things to all, so we can win some.
Mm-hmm.
The real lesson here is that we really changing and adapting. The challenge we have is that we know how things are supposed to go, and we're trying to get them to adapt to our way. But will that work?
Yeah.
Well, let's stop until we got it to work.
A wise man came to our church in the 1980s. He was a pastor at the time. He went on to become an apostle. In fact, later on, he said he doesn't like a secretary who is this type of person. And he said the Lord sent that type of person to him. And he went on a litany of people that he don't like, and the Lord sent all of those people to him. And his conclusion was that, the Lord is working some things in me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bringing out some things in you. Letting you some millennials that will stretch you out.
Of course.
Grace work some things in you.
Sometimes it's some simple things like patience.
Because the Father has sent a whole lot of us who Christ don't like. We are not the type that he like. But he sent him and he supplied a thing called grace. And there's grace sufficient for us to take on millennials and make them work some things in us. He said it. Sometimes you have to be all things to all people. And you're not going to get everything that you like, everything that you want. But you are able to do it. Allow the Spirit of God to take these people and work some things in you. You can cope. You can cope.
Yes,
Because it's spiritual exercise.
I want to officially bring the meeting to an end, and we can discuss after, continue. But I'm going to ask our brother Francis just to close in prayer and giving a thank you to our speaker and the establishment, I suppose.
Father, we thank you for this wonderful day, Lord. Once again, Lord, you showed up. We didn't know exactly what to expect, but you showed up and you blessed us. You provided us with a lot of food for thought. And it connects with some things that we already know, Father. You have given us opportunity to put into practice something that we've heard today. We thank you for the speaker who gave us a wide range of his own experiences.
Yes.
We thank you that he reminded us that he's not a Christian businessman, he's a Christian who does business. And so we've learned a lot of things here today, Father. Now we pray that you would give us the grace to mix the things that we have heard with faith and allow ourselves to be exercised by it.
Amen.
Give us the wherewithal by the Spirit to put into practice those things which you have cordoned off for us individually. I've learned some things here today, Father, and it gels with exactly what you have been saying to me. So I pray that you would give me the wherewithal to implement it. Stop thinking about it and to implement it. Mm-hmm. We pronounce a blessing on our speaker. Yes. We thank you for what he has shared here today, Father. We pray that you would continue to bless him. We thank you that he is going to grow. He is going to grow because he has an international mindset of growth. So we bless you for him, Father. We pronounce a blessing on every household here represented by all these men. And we just pray that you would continue to be with us, continue to teach us the things that you want us to learn. And above all, the things that we bring to you, Father, listen to the petitions that we bring to you. Because we are your children, and because we bring them in the name of the Father, and in the name of the Son, and in the name of the Holy Ghost. Amen.
Amen. Amen. As we go, I just want to ask that, I mean, as men, you know, I keep reiterating that we cover different aspects of business, different areas, and like the Jews, let's circulate the business. Okay, Paul has brands, bookstores. We have children and grandchildren who are in school. Let's go into Paul's store and support him. Derrick with Derrick, quite a number of companies inside there. But Derrick, we hear of Sampars. That's Sampars. We hear of Delect, the Delect brand. That's Derrick. With the Select Grocers. That's Derrick. In Manor Park, in Maypen, and so on. You know, rain fall in our roof, a leak. Here is Francis, right? You're printing out, you're doing a book and so on. I'm here, I can help, you know. Carl with your computers, you can outfit your operation with computers.
Who's that?
Yeah, this is Carl Sweeney, you know. Robert and requests for paper and all of that. There's Robert Vaughn, you know, and we can go on and on. Lainsworth, medical equipment and so on. You know, brethren, we have it here. Let's pull on the resources that we have.
If you're putting up a building.
Yeah, there's Neil. Yeah, there's Neil.
Neil and his brother. The Richards and Richards firm.
But I want to say, I mean, I am so proud of Derrick and what Derrick has accomplished. Amen. And that international vision that he has, you know, I think of Derrick reminds me so much of thing there in Nigeria, wealthiest man in Africa. He has cement, the Dangote. Dangote, you know. And I am so happy and so proud of Derrick and his team there that, you know, I can only just continue to wish upon him, you know, all that his mind and his heart, whatever he puts it to, you know. So I've been blessed this morning. I'm sure many of us as men have been blessed, and I just pray enough blessings for him, my brother.
So there it is time for the bank. It's time for the bank.
Yeah.